Welcome to Fright Club. The first rule of Fright Club is you do talk about Fright Club, based on true events. The other me. I'm not even sure I should be telling anyone this, but I need someone else to know what happened to me. Maybe then I'll feel less crazy. Or maybe someone out there has experienced something similar and can tell me how to make it stop. Because even now, as I write this, I can feel him watching me from somewhere behind my eyes. It started 3 months ago with little things, so small I barely noticed them at first. A coffee mug in the sink I didn't remember using, my laptop open to websites I hadn't visited, keys in the wrong pocket, the kind of stuff you'd normally write off as forgetfulness or exhaustion. I was working from home as a software developer, pulling 80-hour weeks on a major project. Sleep deprivation does strange things to your mind, and I chalked everything up to that. My therapist had warned me about burnout, but deadlines don't care about mental health. The first incident I couldn't ignore happened on a Tuesday night. I remember going to bed around 2 a.m. after coding for 16 straight hours. When I woke up the next morning, my hands were clean, but my bathroom sink was streaked with dark stains. There was dirt under my bed, and my running shoes by the door were caked with mud. According to my phone's step counter, I'd walked over 8,000 steps while I was supposedly asleep. I checked my security camera. The only one I had was aimed at my front door, a basic precaution for apartment living. The footage showed me leaving at 3:17 a.m., then returning at 5:46 a.m. But I had no memory of this, none at all. Just the dreamless void of exhausted sleep. In the video, there was something off about the way I moved. My normally slouched posture was straight, almost rigid. My walk had a confidence I've never possessed. Even my face looked different somehow, more angular, with a slight smile I couldn't ever remember wearing. I told myself I must have been sleepwalking. It wasn't impossible. I'd done it as a child during periods of stress, according to my mother. I made an appointment with my doctor, increased my meditation, and cut back on caffeine. Problem solved, or so I thought. 3 days later, I received a text from a number I didn't recognize. Thanks for last night. Haven't laughed that hard in ages. Drinks again next week? I responded, sorry, think you have the wrong number. The reply came instantly. Very funny, Alex. Playing hard to get after all that charm you laid on at the Rooster. See you Friday, same time. Elise. I had never been to a bar called the Rooster. I didn't know anyone named Elise, and I definitely hadn't been on a date. I'd spent the previous evening debugging code until I passed out at my desk around midnight. Except, I woke up in my bed, not at my desk. With growing unease, I checked my bank statement. There it was, a $62 charge at the Rooster Tavern, timestamped 1:13 a.m. And another security footage check showed the same pattern. Me leaving at 11:30 p.m., returning at 2:45 a.m., moving with that same unfamiliar confidence. I started setting up more cameras, one in my bedroom, one in the hallway, one facing my desk. I needed to know what was happening during these blackouts. But the next morning, I found all 3 cameras unplugged, their memory cards wiped clean. On my bathroom mirror, written in my handwriting but with a flourish I didn't recognize, stop watching. I deserve privacy too. That was when the real fear set in. This wasn't sleepwalking. This was something else. I started leaving notes for myself, trying to communicate with whatever or whoever was taking control. Who are you? The reply the next morning. I'm you, just better. What do you want? To live. You waste so much of our time, our body, our life. You had your turn. Now I get mine. I went to a psychiatrist who asked about my family history of mental illness, prescribed some antipsychotics, and suggested I might have dissociative identity disorder, what used to be called multiple personalities. She explained that severe stress can sometimes cause the mind to fracture, creating alternate identities to handle what the primary consciousness cannot. Think of it as your mind's extreme coping mechanism, she said. Your alter may emerge when you're overwhelmed. The medication made me groggy, slowed my thinking. I hated it, but I took it religiously, desperate to regain control. For a week, it seemed to work. No more blackouts, no more mysterious outings, no more notes. Then, I received an email from my project manager. Alex, the new interface design is brilliant. This is exactly the creative direction we've been missing. I don't know how you pulled this off overnight, but the whole team is impressed. Keep this up, and we're talking about a serious promotion. Attached was a complete redesign of the project I'd been struggling with for months. The code was elegant, innovative, and I had absolutely no memory of writing it. I checked my computer's history. The files had been modified between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. the previous night, hours I'd been chemically knocked out by my medication. I printed out the code and took it to my next therapy session. "This isn't possible," I told her. "The medication knocked me out completely. I couldn't have done this work." "The mind is remarkably adaptable," she said. "Your alter appears to be highly functional." In fact, this work is exceptional. Many patients with DID report that their alters have different skills or abilities. "But I was unconscious." She adjusted her glasses. "Were you? Or do you just not remember being conscious?" On my way home, I found a parking ticket on my windshield for a violation at 3 a.m. that morning, 6 miles from my apartment, in an area of town I never visited. The medications weren't working. They were just creating gaps that he, my other self, was filling. I flushed the pills down the toilet. That night, I barricaded myself in my bedroom. I pushed my dresser against the door, tied one end of a rope around my ankle and the other to my bed frame. I set up my phone to record everything, then wedged it into my bookshelf where it wouldn't be easily spotted. Then I took a sleeping pill, not my prescription, just an over-the-counter one to help me rest. In the morning, the dresser was back in its place. The rope lay neatly coiled on my nightstand, and on my phone was a video that still haunts me. It showed me sitting up in bed around 2 a.m., my eyes open but different somehow, alert in a way I never am. I watched as I untied the rope with deliberate movements, moved the dresser with surprising strength, and then turned directly to the camera. My face smiled, a cold, knowing smile I've never seen in the mirror. My mouth opened, and a voice that was mine but not mine spoke. "Alex, Alex, Alex, these childish games are beneath us. We could accomplish so much if you'd stop fighting me. I'm not your enemy. I'm the version of you that isn't afraid to live." I watched in horror as my body walked to the camera, picked it up, and continued speaking. "Let me show you what I did tonight." The camera turned to show my laptop, open to emails I'd apparently sent to my colleagues. Brilliant solutions to problems that had been stalling our project for weeks. Then it panned to a sketchbook filled with drawings far better than anything I could create. Dark, beautiful illustrations of cityscapes and faces. "I'm not erasing you," my voice continued. "I'm fulfilling you. All those skills you never developed, those chances you were too afraid to take. I'm making us complete." The video ended with my face very close to the camera, eyes glittering with amusement. "Sweet dreams, original Alex. One day you'll thank me." I started calling him Hyde. It seemed fitting. He was everything I wasn't. Bold, confident, talented. If the psychiatrist was right about DID, then Hyde was the manifestation of everything I'd repressed. But that didn't explain how he was capable of things I'd never learned to do. The pattern continued for weeks. I would live my cautious, structured life during the day, and Hyde would emerge at night to pursue whatever he wanted. I discovered he was taking art classes, playing piano at a jazz club, dating not just Elise, but 2 other women simultaneously. He was learning French, rock climbing, and apparently had quite a reputation as a storyteller at local bars. My body was living 2 completely different lives. Through trial and error, I discovered that extreme physical exhaustion seemed to keep him at bay. If I pushed myself to the limit with exercise before bed, I could sometimes make it through the night without him taking over. But I couldn't maintain that pace forever. Instead, I decided to try communicating more directly. I set up a journal where we could leave messages for each other. His handwriting was different, more flowing, with dramatic flourishes. "Why are you doing this?" I wrote. "Because you won't," came his reply. "You've had this body for 34 years, and what have you done with it? Hid behind screens, avoided risks, rejected love, ignored talent. This is my life. It's our life now, and I'm making it worth living." Strangely, over time, I found myself almost looking forward to his notes. He was living the life I'd always been too afraid to pursue. Through his experiences, written in vivid detail in our journal, I was finally learning who I might have been if fear hadn't always held me back. But things changed about 6 weeks in. His notes became darker, his activities more extreme. He was gambling large sums of money, getting into fights, experimenting with drugs. The women in his life seemed less like girlfriends and more like victims of emotional manipulation. "You need to stop," I wrote. "You're going to destroy us both." "Worried about your precious reputation," he replied. "Or jealous that I can do whatever I want while you cower in daylight." I tried locking away my credit cards, phone, and keys before sleeping, but he always found them. I considered restraints again, but the video had proven how easily he overcame them. In desperation, I reached out to a different psychiatrist, one who specialized in dissociative disorders. Dr. Krishnan listened to my story without judgment. Unlike my previous therapist, she didn't immediately prescribe medication. Instead, she suggested something I hadn't considered, trying to communicate with Hyde directly, but with her present. "If this is indeed DID," she explained, "then your alter is a part of you that needs recognition and integration, not suppression. He's emerged for a reason. We need to understand what that reason is." The session was scheduled for 8 p.m, when Hyde was most likely to emerge. Dr. Krishnan used guided meditation and hypnosis techniques to help me relax deeply. I remember her calm voice guiding me down into darkness, and then nothing. I woke up back in my apartment the next morning with no memory of what had happened after the hypnosis began. In our journal was a new entry, the handwriting even more flamboyant than usual. Clever, sending me to a shrink. "She thinks I'm just a fragment of your broken mind. If only she knew. I've been watching you since birth, waiting for a crack to slip through. You created that crack with your exhaustion, your isolation, your emptiness. Thank you for that. But Dr. Krishnan asks too many questions. Don't go back, or I'll show her exactly what I'm capable of." "Some knowledge isn't safe, Alex." There was a voicemail on my phone from Dr. Krishnan. "Alex, please call me as soon as possible. What emerged during our session was concerning. I don't believe we're dealing with standard DID. We need to discuss this immediately." I called her office, but her receptionist told me she'd had to cancel all appointments for the day due to a personal emergency. When I pressed for details, he said only that there had been an incident at her home the previous night. Someone had broken in, ransacked her office and left a threatening message on her mirror. A cold dread filled me. I checked my phone's location history. Between 2 a.m. and 3 a.m., it showed me at an address across town, Dr. Krishnan's office address. What had Hyde done? I didn't hear from Dr. Krishnan for 3 days. When she finally called, her voice was tense, controlled. "Alex, I can't continue as your therapist. I've referred your case to a colleague who specializes in more complex dissociative conditions." "What happened?" I asked. Did he do something to you?" A long pause. "My security camera captured everything. The police have been notified, but I've declined to press charges based on mitigating circumstances. I strongly recommend you seek immediate inpatient treatment." "Please," I begged. "Tell me what happened during our session. What did he say to you?" Another pause. "He said he's not an alternate personality. He said he's been with you since childhood, growing stronger each time you denied yourself what you truly wanted. He called himself your potential made flesh." That doesn't make sense. No, it doesn't. Not in traditional psychiatric terms. But Alex, what concerns me most is what he knew. Personal details about my life. Secrets I've never shared with anyone. Things no patient could possibly know. Her voice dropped to almost a whisper. Things no human should be able to know. After we hung up, I sat in stunned silence. Hyde wasn't just taking over my body at night. He was something else, something beyond a fractured piece of my psyche. The thought terrified me, but it also made a strange kind of sense. The talents I'd never developed, the knowledge I'd never acquired. How could a part of me know things I didn't? That night, I decided to stay awake. No matter what, I wouldn't let Hyde take control. I stocked up on energy drinks, set alarms for every 20 minutes, and prepared to fight through the night. Around 2 a.m., the heaviness began, a leaden feeling pulling at my limbs, my eyelids, my thoughts. I fought it, pacing, pinching myself, blasting music. But the exhaustion was unlike anything I'd ever felt, as if gravity itself had multiplied. My vision began to blur, darkness creeping in from the edges. From the bathroom mirror, I caught a glimpse of my reflection smiling, while I was not. "Stop fighting," I heard my own voice say, though my lips hadn't moved. "It's exhausting for both of us." "What are you?" I demanded, stumbling toward the mirror. My reflection's smile widened. "I told you. I'm you, the you that could have been. Every time you chose safety over adventure, routine over passion, silence over speaking truth, I grew stronger. I fed on your abandoned potential." "That's not possible," I whispered. "Isn't it? Haven't you always felt that presence behind you? The shadow of who you might have become? That's me, Alex. The road not taken, given form." I pressed my hand to the mirror. Instead of meeting solid glass, my fingers sank through as if into cold water. My reflection grabbed my wrist with frightening strength. "I'm tired of waiting for my turn. I'm tired of only living in darkness." I yanked my hand back, stumbling away from the mirror. "This is insane. This isn't happening." But even as I said it, memories surfaced. Childhood moments I'd forgotten. The imaginary friend my parents had worried about. The one I'd talked to in mirrors until they covered them all. The drawings I'd wait to find completed, too advanced for a 7-year-old's hand. The times I'd get blamed for things I couldn't remember doing. He'd always been there, waiting. I ran from the bathroom, but every reflective surface in my apartment seemed to show the same thing. My face with an expression that wasn't mine. Windows, the screen of my phone. even the polished metal of my refrigerator, all showing Hyde looking out at me. The heaviness increased until I could barely stand. As I collapsed to the floor, the last thing I saw was my shadow on the wall, moving independently of my body, reaching for me. I woke up somewhere else entirely. It took me several disoriented moments to recognize my surroundings. A storage unit. My storage unit, rented years ago to hold boxes of childhood memorabilia and college textbooks I couldn't bring myself to throw away. I was lying on an old mattress dragged from somewhere, surrounded by open boxes. Scattered around me were drawings from when I was a child, crude illustrations that always featured two nearly identical boys. In one, they were holding hands. In another, they were standing on opposite sides of what looked like a mirror. My mother had sent these to me years ago, but I'd never looked through them after storing them away. My phone was propped against a box, open to a video recording app. When I pressed play, I saw my own face, but with Hyde's expression. "Hello, original Alex," he said. "If you're watching this, we've reached the turning point. I've brought us here to show you the truth. Look through these drawings. You created me when you were 5 years old, an imaginary twin who could do all the things you were afraid to do, but I was never imaginary." In the video, he held up a yellowed child's journal I didn't remember. "You wrote about me, your mirror friend who would come out at night and complete your homework, clean your room, talk to the neighbor's dog that terrified you. Every time you faced something frightening, you sent me to handle it. Eventually, your parents got worried about your dissociation and took you to doctors. They gave you medication that locked me away." He smiled sadly, "But I never left. I waited while you built a life of safety and routine, watched while you systematically avoided every risk, every passion, every real human connection. You created a prison of comfort, Alex, and as your regrets grew, as the weight of your unexplored potential built up, the walls between us thinned." He leaned closer to the camera. "I'm not a mental illness. I'm not a demon or a ghost. I'm simply the manifestation of everything you've denied yourself, and I'm tired of watching you waste our life." The video ended, and I sat among the scattered evidence of a childhood I barely remembered. Something about the storage unit felt significant, not just the contents, but the location itself. Then it hit me. This building was only 3 blocks from Dr. Krishnan's office. Hyde had brought me close to the scene of his crime. With shaking hands, I checked my phone's news app. The top local story made my heart stop. Local psychiatrist in critical condition after home invasion. According to the article, Dr. Krishnan had been attacked in her home the previous night, found unconscious with a cryptic message written on her bathroom mirror. "Some knowledge isn't safe." I dropped the phone as if it had burned me. Hyde wasn't just living a secret life during my unconscious hours. He was dangerous, violent, and he was getting stronger. Over the next 3 days, I tried everything to keep Hyde contained. I avoided sleep until I literally collapsed. I researched exorcisms, obscure psychological treatments, even chemical sedation. Nothing worked. Each time I lost consciousness, he took control, and each time he stayed in control longer. Our journal communications grew more adversarial. "You attacked Dr. Krishnan. You're a monster. I protected us. She was going to have you institutionalized. Besides, she'll recover. Probably. I'm going to turn myself into the police. With what evidence? Your crazy story about an alternate personality. They'll lock you up and I'll still be here. We're past the point where you can get rid of me, Alex." The final straw came when I woke up to find an eviction notice on my door, alongside a letter from my employer terminating my contract. Apparently, Hyde had decided to quit my job, telling my manager exactly what he thought of the company's soul-crushing mediocrity. He'd also had a party in our apartment that prompted multiple noise complaints and property damage. He was systematically destroying my life, burning every bridge I'd built. That night, I drove to the one place I thought might hold answers, my childhood home, now owned by another family. I parked across the street, not intending to trespass, just hoping that seeing the place might trigger memories that could help me understand what was happening. The house looked smaller than I remembered, the once vibrant blue paint now a subdued grey. As I sat in my car staring at my old bedroom window, fragmented images flashed through my mind. My mother covering mirrors with blankets, my father holding me down as I thrashed and screamed in a voice that wasn't mine, a doctor shining a light in my eyes while saying something about early onset schizophrenia. I must have fallen asleep, because the next thing I knew, I was standing in the backyard of my childhood home, a shovel in my hands and a freshly dug hole at my feet. The hole was small, maybe 2 feet square, and about 3 feet deep. In the beam of my phone's flashlight, I could see something wrapped in plastic at the bottom of the hole. With trembling hands, I reached down and pulled it up. A small box wrapped in garbage bags and duct tape, preserved despite years underground. I don't remember driving back to my apartment. The next clear memory I have is sitting on my living room floor, the unopened box before me, dawn breaking through my windows. Our journal lay open nearby, a fresh entry in Hyde's handwriting. "I've given you a gift, Alex, the truth you buried. Open it or don't, your choice. But know this, after tonight, the balance has shifted. I'm stronger now. Next time I take control, I might not give it back." I peeled away the layers of plastic and tape. Inside was a child's lunchbox, Superman, rusted at the hinges but intact. And inside that was a hand mirror with a cracked face, a child's journal filled with entries in 2 distinct handwritings, and a stack of Polaroid photos. The photos showed me as a child of maybe 7 or 8, but in each picture, my expression and posture changed dramatically from shot to shot, as if 2 completely different children were wearing the same clothes, inhabiting the same body. The journal entries alternated between my childish scrawl and a more confident hand. "Dear mirror friend, Mommy says you're not real, but I know you are. Thank you for helping me talk to Jessica today. Alex, I'll always help you, but you have to let me out more. It's dark and cold behind the mirror. I'm scared of what my friend is doing. He hurt the neighbor's cat." He said it was an accident, but he was smiling. "Don't be afraid of me, Alex. I just want to live too. The cat was dying anyway. I made it quick." The entries grew darker, more desperate on both sides, until the final one, in my child's handwriting but shaky, frightened. "Dr. Simmons gave me pills that make you go away. I'm sorry, I have to take them. Dad says if I don't, they'll send me to a hospital. Mirror friend says he'll find a way back someday. I'm scared." I closed the journal, my hands shaking. It hadn't started 6 months ago with work stress and exhaustion. It had started decades ago in this house, with a child so afraid of the world that he created someone else to face it for him. But what I'd created, or invited in, had its own desires, its own will. And now it wanted control. I carried the mirror to the bathroom, steeling myself to face whatever looked back at me. In the soft dawn light, my reflection appeared normal, tired, frightened, but mine. I touched the glass, half expecting my hand to pass through it again. "I remember now," I said to the mirror. "You were there when I was a child. What are you? Really?" For a moment, nothing happened. Then my reflection smiled that familiar cold smile, though I wasn't smiling at all. I am your potential, your possibility, my reflection said, its lips moving independently of mine. Every human has one, the shadow self, the road not taken. Most remain formless, just vague regrets and what-ifs, haunting the edges of consciousness. But you, Alex, you gave me form, you gave me purpose, you invited me in. I was a child, I whispered. I didn't know what I was doing. Children often see more clearly than adults. You recognized your own weakness, your fear, and you created a solution. You gave me a name, a face, a voice, and in return, I protected you until you started hurting people. My reflection's expression hardened. I never hurt anyone who didn't threaten us. That cat was torturing smaller animals. Those bullies had broken your arm. Dr. Krishnan was going to lock us away. I did what was necessary. And now? What's necessary now? Now we need to renegotiate our arrangement. You've had control for too long, Alex. You've wasted our potential. It's my turn to live in the light. A chill ran through me. You want to take over completely. I want balance, equal time, equal life. We can alternate, day and night, week and week. My reflection leaned closer, pressing against some invisible barrier between us. Or I can just take everything. I'm stronger now. Those pills your parents forced on you suppressed me for years, but I've been building my strength since you stopped taking them in college. Every opportunity you declined, every risk you avoided, you fed me. I backed away from the mirror. I'll go back on medication. I'll have myself committed if I have to. My reflection laughed. Too late for that. I'm not a mental illness to be medicated away. I'm as real as you are. He placed his hand against the glass from his side. But I'm offering you a choice, Alex. Share with me willingly. Or I take everything. Decide by midnight. The reflection returned to normal, matching my movements exactly as a reflection should. But the ultimatum hung in the air between us. The day passed in a fog of dread and desperate research. I read about DID, schizophrenia, even paranormal phenomena and ancient myths about doppelgangers. Nothing matched exactly what was happening to me. I tried calling Dr. Krishnan's office again, but was told she remained in intensive care. I considered turning myself into the police or checking into a psychiatric ward, but what would I say? That my reflection was threatening to steal my body, that my imaginary childhood friend had become real and violent. As midnight approached, I sat cross-legged on my living room floor, the cracked hand mirror before me. I'd made my decision. "Hide," I called to the mirror. "I'm ready to talk." My reflection shifted, his posture straightening, his expression changing to that now familiar confident smile. "I'm listening," he said. "I understand now. You exist because I created a life of safety and routine. You're everything I've denied myself." He nodded. "The road not taken, given form. But you're out of balance. You've gone too far in the opposite direction, taking risks without consideration, hurting people, destroying relationships." "I'm making up for lost time," he said, but I noticed something uncertain flicker across his face. "We're two sides of the same person," I continued. "My caution without your boldness leads to a half-lived life. But your boldness without my caution leads to chaos and pain. Neither of us is complete without the other." My reflection was silent, considering. "I'm proposing integration, not alternation," I said. "Not you sometimes and me sometimes, but us, together, always. The best of both." "Pretty words," he said. "But what does that actually mean?" "It means I acknowledge you. I accept that you're part of me. the part I've been afraid of, the potential I've avoided. And I'm asking you to accept me too, my compassion, my thoughtfulness, the parts of me that balance your impulsiveness. Hyde studied me suspiciously. You're trying to trick me into some kind of psychological mumbo-jumbo that locks me away again. No tricks, I said, placing my hand against the mirror. Just recognition. You exist because I denied my own potential. If I stop denying it, if I embrace it instead. I didn't finish the sentence, but understanding dawned in his eyes. I become part of you again. Not trapped, not separate, integrated. Yes. He laughed, but it wasn't the cold laugh I'd heard before. It was sadder, more human. And why would I agree to that? I'm winning, Alex. By midnight, I'll be strong enough to take permanent control. Because you're not just my potential, I said quietly. You're my regret given form. And living a life fueled solely by regret is no life at all. You know that. That's why you're so angry, so desperate to experience everything at once. You're trying to fill a hole that can't be filled that way. His expression faltered. For the first time, I saw uncertainty in those eyes that were mine, but not mine. We need each other, I continued. Your courage, my compassion, your spontaneity, my stability. Together, we could actually live the life that both of us want. A life of meaning, not just safety or sensation. He was silent for a long while, his hand still pressed against his side of the mirror, matching mine. How? He finally asked. Let me back in, I said. And I'll let you in too. No more separation. No more us and them. Just us. In the distance, a clock began to chime midnight. With each toll, the barrier between us seemed to thin. I could almost feel the cold glass turning to water beneath my palm. On the 12th chime, the mirror cracked completely, splitting down the middle. I felt a rush of sensation, memories that weren't quite mine, feelings I'd never let myself feel, knowledge I'd never sought but somehow possessed. For one dizzying moment, I was both observer and observed, self and other, inside and outside. Then silence. It's been 6 months since that night. The doctors say my recovery is remarkable. According to them, I experienced a profound dissociative break triggered by work stress, followed by what they're calling a spontaneous reintegration. They have no explanation for the specific skills I suddenly possess: the fluent French, the artistic ability, the musical talent. The human mind is mysterious, they say, and leave it at that. Dr. Krishnan has recovered as well. When I visited to apologize, she studied me with cautious interest. You seem different, she said, more present. Who am I speaking with now? Both of us, I answered truthfully. Or neither. Just me. She nodded as if she understood. The integration was successful then. I've never seen a case resolve itself this way. I didn't tell her that sometimes, when I'm very tired or stressed, I still see him in reflective surfaces, not trying to take control, just watching, reminding me of promises made. I didn't tell her that I still keep our journal, though now there's only one handwriting, a perfect blend of his confident flourishes and my careful precision. Integration wasn't the end of Hyde. It was the beginning of a more complete version of myself. I still take risks that the old Alex would have avoided, but tempered with a care for consequences that Hyde would have ignored. I live more fully in each moment, but with an eye toward the future. Sometimes I wonder if everyone has a Hyde lurking behind their reflections, the road not taken, watching with increasing hunger as opportunities pass by and potential remains unfulfilled. Maybe we all make unconscious bargains with ourselves, trading passion for safety, adventure for routine, until those denied aspects of ourselves grow strong enough to demand recognition. If you're listening to this and something about it resonates too deeply, may I suggest you take a long look in the mirror. Pay attention to your reflection, especially in those moments when you're tired or distracted. Does it move just a fraction of a second too late? Does it smile when you don't? And if one day you find messages you don't remember writing or evidence of actions you don't remember taking, don't be afraid. It might just be the road not taken, trying to find its way home. After all, no matter which path we choose in life, the other possibilities never truly disappear. They just wait, patient and watchful, in every reflective surface. The lives we might have lived, staring back at us with our own eyes, wondering what might have been. Have you ever felt like you're being watched from behind your own eyes? What potential within you is growing restless, waiting for its chance to live?